Hello there, Tekno here with yet another video review. It's not going to be Transformers today. Instead, I'm going to be trying something different and reviewing a Figma. And it is the Figma Strength from Black Rock Shooter. This is one of those cases where I don't know much about the franchise that this is from, but the design is pretty darn cool, so I kind of had to get this sucker. So yeah, just looking at the box here, it's pretty well, your standard box for this sort of thing. Not much else really to say about it. So, let's get it open, shall we? So here's what Strength looks like out of the box, and with all the little packaging labeling and stuff off, and it's a pretty well sculpted little figure. Just looking up closely here, as you can see, there's a lot of detail on this sculpt here. It's pretty well painted and stuff as well. I've never had Figmas before, but the posability is pretty good. It's got ball joints here, which also have a bit of a hinge on them, the hinged ball joints. And it's got similar down here at the elbows. And even the hands, like the fists here, are even on a bit of a swivel joint and a joint that folds in and out like so. It's also got ball jointed hips. Ball jointed knees as well, I guess, which also have the bendy bit, like you would expect. And the ankles are also on ball joints as well. Taking a close-up of the head sculpt, it is fairly well done. And it's got a bit of a ball joint there in the neck, so you can get some up and down poses there and look from side to side. Now, this would all be all in good, except this posing is kind of encumbered by the hood. But wait, what's this here? There's a little hinge here at the back of the hood that lets us bend it back so that we can get a bit more of a look at the hair of this figure, which seems to be the fairly standard thing I've seen on other toys, where it's two pieces with the front and rear bangs that clip onto the head there. We can get rid of that nasty hood there and give her a face that we can actually see. Just doing a close-up of the head sculpt here, you can see that it's pretty good. It's a bit of a morose sculpt. It's something that I quite like, honestly. Like, this is the sort of thing that I like. It's a character design that, it's not something that you would feel embarrassed to have out on your shelf out in the open when you have guests over or anything like that. It's a really nice sculpt. It looks pretty good. And it's got the little tail hanging down. And yes, for those curious, yes, those are panties there. Of course there are. It is an anime figure after all. Another thing that I'm just going to point out, but not actually show, is the fact that the outfit is actually a separate piece of rubbery plastic right here. In theory, it wouldn't be very hard for you to get off, but I'm not actually going to do this in this review here. With this stand, you're able to get a number of really cool poses out of Strength that can let her defy gravity considerably. But she's also got weapons. She is armed with two replacement arms that each have fully posable fingers. It's really actually pretty amazing looking at these things. And not just that, but because of the fact that these fingers weigh so much, quite honestly, if you were to put them on there, they also come with their own set of stands that are designed specifically for supporting the hands. There's two different lengths here that you can use in order to plug in this joint here to the hands. There's a little ball joint you can use here in order to plug these stands in, and you can just replace them by taking them out and putting the smaller ones in there. In order to get these on the figure, naturally, we need to swap out the arms from the look of it, and we can go about doing that in a fairly straightforward manner. And then once we've amputated the arm, what we can do is just take this little peg out here, and I can plug it in to replace her original hand with a new giant hand of Doom. Now these hands, just looking at them, it looks like that you can actually use them to support the weight of the figure depending on how they're standing, which kind of makes me notice the purpose of these stands. It's less so for keeping the hand on the body, but it's more because if you're doing poses like this, the hand is not going to be able to stay in place on its own without weighing down the ball joint that's on the actual shoulder. All in all, Strength is a pretty impressive Figma. As well as what I've shown in these pictures so far, she also comes with a number of alternate hands and an alternate face for getting a few different poses out of her. And the supports that come for her arms are very useful in allowing them to do a lot of varied poses, including some really neat shielding ones. All the fingers on the hands are also individually posable, so you can do some extra features there. And the stand works very well at supporting her in doing all kinds of cool aerial poses. Overall, I've really got to say that I'm pretty impressed with this as my first Figma. It's posable, it holds its poses well, and you can do a lot of really cool things with it. So overall, in the end, I'm going to have to give this figure, quite simply, an awesome! This is General Tekno signing off.